Hey everybody, it's good to see you back. I'm John, as you know probably by now, but if you don't, that's who I am, founder and president of Free Indeed, and I have such a great time putting together these videos, and I hope that you enjoy them and that you can share in what I have to say, and you know my heart. Today, I want to share from my heart, so forgive me if I cry a little, because I'm a crier, any of you who know me. So I warn you now, it could happen. But you know, we're at Easter, and Easter's a really neat time in our lives because it represents, of course, Jesus going to the cross, and then again, and then on Easter rising from the dead those 3 days later. But in the middle of all of that, he said, as he was stretched out on the cross, "It is finished." And what did he mean by that? He meant that the suffering that we feel, the aloneness that we feel, the fear and all the anguish, the sin that we are condemned under from birth, that power was finished, it's over, it's broken, that he took it upon himself. When God put everything upon him, his Father, our Daddy in heaven, and then turned away, once he cried, "It is finished," that means that it was all satisfied, that all of the debt was paid for you and me. And when I think about that, it's hard not to get emotional that somebody, a God, your creator, my creator, would do that for me, because it doesn't make logical sense in our mind. But I want it to not make sense. I want my God to be so big and so incredible that I can't make sense of it, which brings me to a place of faith, which brings me to a love that I cannot express except through tears and through the joy of Free Indeed, to go and do the work that I do and to join you in changing the world, because everyone gets a chance to know Jesus. Everyone is entitled to his grace. We talk about the entitlement society. Guess what? There's your entitlement to life everlasting and the grace of the Lord. In my life, I went through a great deal of turmoil because I was saved. I found Christ, as you might know, at 16, and then went through life loving the Lord. I really did. When I was young and got married and had kids, I loved Jesus. But I also knew that I had the same-sex attraction going on, and I was involved with that, had been my whole life. But what I want you to know through this Easter message is that Jesus never gave up. You know, along the way to the cross, he never stopped and said, "No, I can't do this. This is too much." But that's what I did. That's what I thought I had to do, because I listened to so many other voices. You know, they were screaming at him when he was carrying his cross, "Stop." But he wouldn't. He had too much to give. There was too much on the line. You were on the line. If he quit, there would be no hope. There would be no grace. There would be no love that you could hold on to and call it true. You might have a sense of what's going on in life and think that's love, but truly, without God, there is no love. Without him, there is no love. So I went in through my life, and I know he was with me, even though I didn't reach out to him, at least not overtly, going to church and trying to pretend to be something that I wasn't. I was out to be what I knew I was, which was this radical gay person who was going to change the world. And if I could have made the whole world into a rainbow flag, I would have done it. But he didn't let me do that. He let me raise children. He gave me a nice job, but I stayed connected to the sin and the death that was in my life. And to be really honest with you, it was tumultuous. It was difficult. It was actually painful. If I took all of the things that I did that were immoral, all of the sex partners I've had, all of these places I've been and scenes that I don't need to discuss here, but if you ever want to know, you can ask me. And I was looking at them each as a brick. And if I were to put all of those and just build them up, I realized that what I had done is built a wall, more than a wall. I had built an entire shelter with a roof on it, and I was trapped inside, and it was dark. And I didn't know how to get out. Now what do? Now do I just sit in my sin and die? No, because Jesus didn't sit and die. He went to the cross, and he took upon himself those sins. And then when he rose again, man, he made sure that we knew that those nail-scarred hands were him. He said, my peace that I leave with you, my rest I give to you, my peace. I mean, it was great. But along the way in our lives, we forget that, or nobody shows us that. No one tells us that this grace is for you right in the midst of whatever you're going through. Even if you're not going through anything, you think your life is great because it's all working out for you. I thought that for years. It kept me where I was at. But the Holy Spirit still pursued me. The Holy Spirit still was there, just like he was in amongst the crowd of people as he watched Jesus die. He knew he was there. He had not been poured out on the people yet, but he was there. He's God, right? We know he saw it. So I want you to know that even though you might continue in what you want to do, if God is pulling on your heart, if God is calling you, there's a gentle voice, there's a stirring. In fact, a lot of times that stirring turns into frustration and anger. And you get mad at God, you get mad at other people, you get mad at yourself. You find that you aren't fitting in with your own life. Don't be afraid of that. That's your opportunity to give it to God, because it's finished. It's been done. You don't have to fight anything. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone, or certainly not to God, because the only thing you can prove to God is that you are a sinner that needs him. The only thing you can prove is that you have nothing to prove and nothing to offer, and you have everything to gain. And that's what I needed. I needed this Jesus to be so powerful that he could be raised from the dead, and his love so perfect that he would be put to death. I was caught in a trap that I couldn't get myself out of. And even as I started walking through the freedom that as God called me back, like I described to you, that anger, frustration, that was when I was really introduced to drugs. I mean, you think of all places, all of those things should happen, and I should have this story about it all coming to an end. Well, eventually it did. But along the way, the enemy threw the bombs, those nuclear bombs, trying to just obliterate my path back to him, so that I would just turn back on the path that I knew and say, God, you can't do this for me. I'm not going to let you. But I didn't do that. And you know what? Our God is stronger. It's not that I chose to keep going. It's that God chose that I'm going to keep going. He said, I showed you, I've proven myself, keep coming. And he's so powerful that he can give you the right mind. He can give you the right power. He can give you the strength, the people. You're not on your own. This is what I want you to understand. Grace is the most powerful weapon in your arsenal that you could ever have. You will be drawn to the perfection of God. And don't think that just because you're on earth that he isn't so powerful, he can't change all of the people around you. He will move heaven and earth for you. He did that. When Jesus died, it got dark for hours. There was earthquakes. He moved heaven and earth to take your sin. Now let him move heaven and earth so you can receive your forgiveness, your salvation, your hope. I'm getting all excited, getting preachy here, because I know it's true and I know it's real, because he did it for me. And now I walk in this new place. It's not because I'm better than anybody or I did something special. All I did was say, Jesus, you do it, because I don't know what to do. And I'm willing to do whatever it is that you want me to do to be happy. He wanted me to be happy. He dies, he rises, he does all the work. And then he turns around and says, oh, by the way, along with the forgiveness, I want you to be happy on this planet. What would you like to do? Where would you like to go? Who do you want to be? Tell me, and let me take you where you never thought you could go, to become who you never thought you would be. And that has nothing to do with fame. It has to do with you having your name. And when God gives you your name, you know that you're known. And there's nobody else that you would want to have know you than Jesus, than your Creator God. So I encourage you, let the love of the Lord come into your heart. He does love you, and he will never, ever leave you. And if you have to cry with him, cry. If you want to shout, shout. If you want to call or get a hold of us, we're going to be there with you. We want to join you in that. But again, remember, it's been finished. It's already just waiting for you. That's what this Easter is all about. That's what Resurrection Day is about. That's what he came to do for his own creation. And there's nobody who has that kind of love for you. So I thank you again for joining me. Make sure you stay in touch and participate. Whatever you would like to do, we're here for you. God bless.